questions, bring the heat or keep it chill. He's got the answers and a license to spill. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. Badge, now a podcast star, navigating traffic laws near and far. Stop sign confusions or a signal light feud. Sean's the one to give you the right attitude. Yeah, ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. From this man. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie.
Hey, everybody. Oh, my God. Am I going to start with losing my voice? I have been fighting a cold that has been for the last week. Water good. Hey, my name is Sean Shapiro. I am a former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And if you're here, welcome. I hang out for about an hour to talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. My goal is to help you answer questions that you want answered. If you want to know about traffic law, traffic safety, and police stuff, if you want to know about employment, if you want to become a police officer, if you want to know one of the greatest things about volunteering opportunities, we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about what's going on in the news to some degree. I mean, there's topics I don't play with, but when we talk about things happening in my city, in Toronto, there's some wild stuff that's going on. And yeah, we can talk about that. Let's see who's in here. We got Glenroy Wilson and Flicks. Some guy joined, Grace, Aunt Forza. Let's see here. We got Cosmic Code. Great name. I love the creative names. Boss Trucker. Seawood Dashcams. How's it going? Thanks for sharing the live. If you are watching on TikTok, please share the live. Send some likes to the live. It helps people find it. And, at the end of the day, it's not about making money. Like, this is a not-for-profit. I don't get paid for this. I created a not-for-profit. I'm here because I want to be, because I want to help. That's all it is. So if you want to, I like the question, do you like bologna? I love bologna. Who doesn't like bologna? Not in terms of questions, I like actual beef bologna. Bologna. So, yes, please share, please like, subscribe, and all that jazz, because it really does help bring more people to the party. And when we have more people here, we get better questions. Not to say that if we never have nothing to talk about. I'll talk about donuts and chicken wings if need be. But it's always more interesting when we have something that you want to discuss. That's kind of the way it works. If you don't have anything you want to talk about, we'll talk about what I want to talk about. And I don't know if anybody actually wants that. I've been spending time at the National Home Show. It's a place to be. I'll be back again this weekend. I was trying to do every day, and it hasn't worked out. I didn't go today. I hope to be able to make it there tomorrow, but I'll definitely be there on Saturday. But we'll get back to that. I see Cooper Hat, who says, hi, how are you? I just liked and subscribed. Thank you very much, Cooper Hat. And Cooper Hat, you can be my guest sample here. When I hit the button, y'all see it on the screen, at least on platforms other than TikTok. TikTok can't see my graphics when I hit the button, but everybody else can. It's kind of cool. Decepticons Forever is acknowledging my Optimus Prime. Yes, Optimus Prime rocks. And I'm a big fan. thus I wear the shirt. And I've had so many compliments on this. And then when someone asks me about Transformers, I tend to want to roll into you know, I am Optimus Prime, leader of the I was gonna say Decepticons, of the Autobots, and Autobots roll out. I just want to I want to talk like that, and I really need to find an excuse to use the voice. What an iconic voice! And someone said that the voice actor who plays Optimus Prime in the movies had passed away, and it's not accurate from what I understand, and I'm very thankful of that. We got is it? I see here. We got a hello from somebody. We got. I'm trying to decipher the OEST, but I haven't figured that out. We got Paul. We got Esplo. Another Toronto police officer. Yes. So uh, yeah, that's some really whack news. This guy that was charged is an officer who was charged for 3 counts of sexual assault and 2 counts of assault, apparently not related in any way to the uniform. That was his personal life. He was in the news before in regards to things he did in uniform, but just another kick in the ribs. I don't like it when we see cops getting arrested, not because bad cops shouldn't be held accountable, but because I don't like it that there are any. I'd like to believe that cops are perfect and do everything right. But the reality is there are some that don't do everything right. And the nice thing is when they get caught and they get held accountable. Nobody does this cover up thing that there's an allegation that we have a blue line and that everything is a free for all and cops can do whatever they want. They can't. They're held to a higher level, a higher expectation, and I'm glad because we should be. We have police officers have more authority, and with that comes more responsibility. All right, we are going to go back to TikTok because I was just staring at. Oh, hey, from Nova Scotia, Zev, what's going on? Okay, and someone's going like, "Who's Zev? Where's Zev?" But Zev's there. Okay. Duh, 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 duh. Okay, Matthew joined and I waved at them. Okay, cool. And they love bologna too. That's good. That's very good. Oh, and thank you for the gift. Who sent that? That was Amelia. Thank you for the heart, Amelia. I'm actually using the Magical Studio app, finally available for Mac, and I can see these things. Any gifts you send do go to the not-for-profit called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, and the goal is to make things like today's live stream possible. Also, a shout out to the magical people at I got so many magical people. We have a number of sponsors. We have Diamond and Diamond. Diamond is Canada's largest personal injury law firm, and they are sponsors of the show. They help me keep the lights on and keep the internet going. And the ridiculously expensive software required to live stream on 9 platforms, and we are on 9 platforms right now. We're on TikTok and YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and X and Twitch, Kick. Where else are we? We're on YouTube in 2 different vertical and horizontal. Like we're everywhere. Wherever you are, that's where we are. And if it all works, I see all the chat. It doesn't always all work, or doesn't all. I don't know. It doesn't always work, but I am seeing who I need to see, which is you. If you don't see me, if you think I'm ignoring you, and you're not on TikTok, YouTube, Kick, or Instagram, know that you can go over to those platforms, and I will absolutely see you on YouTube. Bergamutka sent a rose. Thank you very much. And Mr. Steak sent gold boxing gloves. Thank you very much. And a rose. Wow, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you. All right. Dire Straits joined. Very cool. I'm assuming you're a fan and not the actual band, but either way, welcome. Zeno, the Warrior Princess, says hello. Let's talk about Tow Zone. Now, if you're talking about Tow Zone on the 400 highways, this was a change that came in a number of years ago, a couple of years ago, we'll say more accurately. And there is they now do sort of like what's it called? What's the word I'm looking? They go through a list and they try and keep it even, Steven. Authorized tows, and they do a round robin kind of thing where they assign tows, and you can't just call your buddy to do the tow, because there were some officers who were calling friends, getting some motivation, possibly financial motivation, to call specific people. I don't know the ins and outs of that case, but I do know that there were some people who were investigated and it didn't look good on them. So this is supposed to be more fair. Now, in the city of Toronto, we have different tow areas, and each area has a contract tow that they compete and bid on, and they have regulated prices, which is good. It protects you, the people who are driving around in the city of Toronto. So they're all regulated. They have to agree to the pricing, otherwise they don't get the contract. And the Toronto Police will only send a tow truck from that particular jurisdiction, the contract tow for that jurisdiction to help you. You can always call your own tow, but if a police officer attends, they're going to call the contract tow. Okay. Thank you for the follow, whoever just followed. I can't see your name. It just popped up on the corner of the screen. It was gone before I had a chance. But welcome to the family. A Burton girl joined. Let's see who we got. Does a dog have, this is Aro who wants to know, does a dog have to be secured in a crate when driving? And just before I answer that, Melody and Tracy, welcome. Hello, thank you for joining. Both Melody and Tracy are magical moderators. They have that authority to mute people when they're doing not so nice things in the chat, and I appreciate them. Now we also have the fact that Melody is a mechanic and knows lots of stuff and things about. Well, she's a mechanic. She knows stuff that I don't even know. So I appreciate her lending her knowledge. What's here? Just scrolling down there. Oh, yes, Decepticons Forever just threw a note in saying that Canada and TikTok have reached an agreement. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Remind me if I forget, but it is good. See with dash cams, I see you there. But I want to go back to the dogs. The dogs have to be crated. Dogs should be either crated or tethered. They don't have to be in a crate. Tethers are good. Crates are better. So what does this mean? What are we talking about? If you have a dog riding in the vehicle, is it safe for them to be unsecured, insecure, not secured? No. In the event of a collision, they're going to become a projectile in the vehicle. They can hurt you as another passenger in the vehicle. They can obviously hurt themselves. And even if if they don't get hurt at all in a collision, if the vehicle is damaged, if the window is smashed and they're freaked out, and what dog wouldn't be freaked out after a collision? If they jump out into the roadway and they're not tethered, secured, or kept in the vehicle, they could get hurt running on the highway while freaked out, right? Makes sense. They could also bite or hurt somebody whilst scared. So think about it. Does your dog lash out at people who it doesn't know? Do you think that might change if they were stressed out? If you were incapacitated, would they be panicked and trying to protect you from someone trying to put hands on you? These are reasons why crates are even better than tethers, because when emergency services personnel want to help you within the vehicle, a crate keeps them truly protected. And if they can take the whole crate out, it makes it easier for emergency services to keep that animal contained safely whilst they work on extracting you, if that is one of the things that needs to happen. Provide medical attention. It's better. Of course, I'm talking about worst case scenarios. So we'll step it back. That's the best case scenario is a crate. Next to that is a tether where they're in the back seat, not the front seat, the back seat, and they won't get thrown forward in the event of a collision. So I think I've covered all angles of that. If you have more questions about tethering animals, go for it. Ask away. Excuse me. See what Dashcams asks the following. When entering and exiting a roundabout, should one use their turn signal to show the direction? Well, here's the deal. The Highway Traffic Act says you need to signal your intention to change the direction or to announce the movement of your motor vehicle. So in the event that you are doing something that shouldn't be predictable, like changing lanes or making a turn, you should. And this is where it gets interesting. Some people have actually said you should announce going into a roundabout and exiting a roundabout. Logically, that doesn't make sense to me. Entering the roundabout is going straight. The road is moving. If there was a curve in the road, you wouldn't signal the curve, which is what a roundabout is as you enter. However, when you are exiting a roundabout, you absolutely must signal because you're about to make a change. If you were not changing, you would just continuously go in circles. You are announcing the port for which you are going to exit. And if that is the first street or second street, it really, really, really helps those people who are trying to judge whether or not they should be slowing down, speeding up, crossing the street, and all that jazz. it's not only a good idea, it's kind of required by law. So that's it. Could it hurt you to signal in? I think it's confusing as all get out. I don't think it makes any sense to signal in, but it won't cause you to get a ticket. It just doesn't make any sense. Neha, how you doing, my friend who has recently moved away from Toronto but continues to make content? I'm glad to see you. We got Brandon who is visiting us, is joining us from sunny Florida. I'll be in Florida soon. I have to go back. I have to go to a family function in Florida, so I'm really connected. I got a lot of family in Florida. And when I went to Florida last time, people in the chat got nasty. How dare you? You traitor. You went to Florida and spent money. I'm like, should I shun my family? Should I no longer speak to people I love because they live in the United States? I think that's kind of silly. They were really not happy about me going to the States. I'm not into this elbows up thing. I don't have a grudge against my family who live on the other side of the border. They'll come here. They'll spend money in Canada. I'll spend money in the States. It's just what it is. If you don't like it, I apologize in advance. You're going to be offended. Let's see here. Kayla Draconis says, greetings and salutations from Maddock. Man, it makes me want to think like Murdoch. Not Murdoch Mysteries, but like Murdoch from A-Team. That's what I think of. Funny, it's still dark. Oh, like since I'm not picking up what you're putting down, my brother. No way. Great news for Brandon. He got a surprise from Ford. His Mustang GTD is inbound, and I can't wait for the delivery. He is one of the lucky few, one of the authorized persons who will be receiving delivery in the not too distant future of a Ford Mustang GTD, and it's a sick ride. Very, very, very cool. Flex says US are out of bounds. Come on, really? No, they're not. I again, do I kind of ignore my? No, I can't ignore my family. Anyway, moving on. We got Shenanigans who says 20 years NYPD here. Hey, brother, good to see you. You've been in here. Have you been in here? I think you've been in here before. Send me a DM. I'd love to connect. And in fact, I was just talking to Macho Camacho. We're planning our September 11th memorial trip. I have not been able to attend for a number of years, but I've been very involved with the September 11th memorial group of Toronto officers who go to remember. And that's a big deal. So I'm very happy to have you here, brother. And we're going to look for some more questions, but jump in. I'd love to hear your perspective as a New York City police officer. And how, especially when it comes to traffic, because it's New York and Toronto have a lot in common, I think, and it's one of my favorite cities. Not just because I like cheesecake. Junior's cheesecake rocks. Okay, is it Mike Lowry? Better boxer Floyd Merriweather or Terrence Bud Crawford? I don't even know who Terrence Bud Crawford is, so unfortunately I can't weigh in, even though I said I could talk about anything. I don't know. Daddy says, can you do Star Wars voice acting? I don't know. I've never tried. Let's see here. We need you for the next movie after Transformers 1 to voice Optimus. I was kind of disappointed in the voices on Transformers 1. I think that was the animated. I like the movie, but I don't think I like the voice acting in it. Now I have to watch it again to make a determination. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm just going to reintroduce myself for those who are dropping into the line and may not know who I am. I'm a former police officer. I know it says so on the screen, but many people say, why are you still talking about, or why are you a police officer taking time to be in, waste taxpayer money to be here on screen? Well, I'm no longer a police officer, so I can't get criticized for being here, and I'm absolutely on my own time, but I do this to answer questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and we'll get to you in a bit. It is not something that happens instantaneously, because you may notice by listening to the rambling that's going on here that I do talk about things. I spend time on topics. I'm not in a rush. I got nowhere to be. Well, that's not true. I have a meeting after this, but I am absolutely here to help. So drop them in the comments. We'll go. We'll see. In the NYPD, we call it ROTO. ROTO. Okay, now I'm out of context. What is roto? What was that comment in regards to? Let's see here. Eric Damaso says, "Howdy, Constable. How are things?" And Eric, it's former Constable, but things are good. I cannot complain. The weather is getting nicer. Yeah, there's some flooding. There's a lot of cleanup that's going to be happening all around with crappy leaves that got missed before the snow came down. Lots of mud and guck. I'm finding a lot of people slipping and sliding around, but it is magic to not have tons of snow. And I think I'm done for like I'm not going to say it. I put away the shovel. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to say more. Uh, Oceanadigan says rotational tow. Numerous tow companies on a list gets rotated. Imagine if Manhattan had one tow. Gotcha. Now I understand what the roto is. That makes sense. I like that terminology too. I think first of all, I I get into New York, and when I spend time in New York, I start sounding. I think I start sounding like I'm from there. I tend to break into a little bit of a New York thing, and I gotta say I quite enjoy it. But now I really want to chat more about things about the NYPD. Undead Neon's in the chat, and he says Dory was a trigger to remind everybody who I am and what I do and what I say and that sort of jazz. But I just did that, so we'll just keep on moving. Now I understand the context. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Oh yes, Oceanadigan says fur. I call them fur missiles, but Oceanadigan says animals that are not tethered or crated in a vehicle when it gets into a collision becomes a four-legged missile. And the question was, how long were you on the job? So I joined in 2000. I left in 2024. And I started off as an auxiliary, did 6 months as an auxiliary officer. Shout out to anyone who volunteers in any capacity in your community. You rock. Volunteers are the backbone of every community. They make it happen. So I love volunteers. I respect them. I did the volunteer thing for 12 years. But here's the thing. I did double duty. So I did 6 months as an auxiliary, loved it so much, I became a court officer, special constable, prisoner transportation, court security, and that jazz. And I did those two things together for 12 years. I was a court supervisor when I left, and I was a sergeant in the auxiliary program. And in 2012, I patched over and became a police constable. When I left in 2024, I was a first class police constable. Sadly, I had been injured on the job, and I was off the road. But I had a great time, a great run with Toronto Police, and I am quite happy to report that I am actually in better shape now than I was. I think when I left all broken after my accident. I spent 5 years recovering or more from my motorcycle collision, and now I'm back in the gym and I'm kicking butt. So I'm having a lot of fun. Starting to feel real good. Not perfect, but feel real good. Okay. Just my thoughts. Wants to know about dash cameras. I will come back to you in just 1 second. I just want to scroll through and see what I've missed here. We got Insure with Deshant says, hello, Sean. Quick question. Driver under the alcohol influence is driving a self-drive Tesla, which he borrowed from a friend. Will the driver get a ticket, and will the owner also get a ticket? So, self-drive does not mean autonomous. It's not a vehicle that you can sit in the back seat like a taxi that's autonomous works. You are still the driver in full self-drive under Tesla. It is like a hyped up autonomous Model 2 or Level 2, which is not really autonomous. It's a driver assist mode where you are still absolutely responsible for everything that vehicle does, and you're responsible to take over if it's doing something wrong. Well, you are not in a capacity to drive a motor vehicle legally if you are under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Thus, you cannot be the supervisor because you wouldn't be legal to drive. Just like you cannot teach someone how to drive when you are the passenger who is supposed to supervise. You can't have more than the legal limit. In fact, not even the criminal limit. You can't have the legal limit for driving in the province of Ontario, which is 0.05 versus 0.08 for criminal. So yeah, you can't supervise a Tesla, and you can't supervise the G1 driver. Now, your question was, would the driver get charged, the impaired person, and would the owner get charged? So first off, the driver would get arrested and criminally charged. If the vehicle was involved in a collision, the insurance may choose not to cover you because the person is impaired, and they don't cover impaired persons because they're breaking the law. Now, would the registered owner be charged for allowing somebody who was impaired to drive their car, even in an autonomous mode home? If they knew they were impaired, although I think it would be difficult to prove, if you gave the keys to someone who's impaired and said, "Don't worry, it's a self-driving car, it's going to be cool." Yeah, you could definitely find yourself. It might be hard to prove, but you definitely have some involvement of responsibility. Thank you to let's see, we got not a firefighter who sent a gift, and Undead Neon sent a gift, and thank you both and all, and I appreciate you. Okay, let me get back to the question that I said I was going to deal with, which one was it? It was, I'm going to find it in just 1 second. A bunch of new stuff popped in, so I've got to scroll for a second. Can I make this window bigger? I can. Okay. Dash cameras. That's from Just My Thoughts. Would you suggest investing in a dash camera for the front of the car? How about the rear of the car? I personally like dual camera rigs. I have a dual camera in mine. I use a U1000, which has since been replaced by, I think it's a U3000 from Thinkware. They should sponsor the show, by the way. But I think that they're fantastic. I do have links to them on my Amazon store. You can go to the Amazon store at askatrafficcop.ca. If you go there, I think we get a commission or something. Even if you just buy it without, I suggest that's the camera I like. I like the software interface. I like the quality of the camera, even though I've had one fail. It failed well after the warranty. I can't complain. So while many people say you don't need a rear camera, it's just extra money for nothing. I was rear-ended by a taxi cab, and I would have loved to have seen where his eyes were when he hit me. So I have a feeling he was on his phone. Now, I will never know. Why? Because that was the week or two where I had a camera fail, had ordered a replacement on Boxing Day, and it was sitting on my dining room table. I had not yet installed it, and that's my fault. I didn't get camera footage. Mind you, my vehicle was not damaged in any way, shape, or form, but I will tell you that the taxi cab needed a whole bunch of work because he rode under my vehicle, and my trailer hitch and everything just destroyed his hood. So I was good. Kyle, what happens if I get pulled over for going 50 kilometers over the posted speed limit? That's Kyle Robichaud 130. The answer to your question is simple. It's stunt driving. 50 kilometers over in an area that has a speed limit of 80 kilometers an hour or more. So if it's 50 over in a 100 zone or 50 over in an 80 zone, you're getting charged with stunt driving. In the province of Ontario, that means a 30-day suspension, a 14-day vehicle impound, and that's the start. Oh yeah, plus you're paying for your tow and your storage fees while it's happening. So you're spending some bucks right there. When you get your license back, your insurance is going to find out about this. Your insurance is going to get spiked. It's going to go up, even if you're not convicted, because they're going to see the suspension. But that's another story. Let's talk about the conviction. In the event that you're convicted in court for stunt driving, you're looking at $2,000 to $10,000 in fines. It's a minimum of 2, a maximum of 10 on your first conviction. Then you're looking at a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition. So the minimum they can suspend your license for is 1 year, and the maximum is 3 years. 1 to 3. Now that is the what everyone thinks it stops, but they have the ability to also give you jail time of up to 6 months. They can do a fine and jail time. That's up to them. It's their prerogative. Do we see the people getting jail? I would have once upon a time told you no. Now the deal is that we do. We see people getting jail time. Now, again, that was the first conviction. If you are convicted again of stunt driving yet again, because for whatever bonehead reason, the person who decided to go 50 over again and got caught again. Well, it's still a $2,000 to $10,000 fine. And of course, you're getting another 30-day suspension and another 14-day vehicle impound and all the towing fees and storage fees and all that jazz. But now it's $2,000 to $10,000, and it's a 3 to 10 year driving prohibition upon conviction, and another up to 6 months. And chances are they'd be more inclined to give you jail time the second time than they would the first time, but it's up to them. If you get a third or any subsequent conviction after that, lifetime prohibition from driving. You lose it. It's done. What do we got here? So I hope that answers your question. If you got more, please feel free. We got here. Modak and Murdoch and GTD has 830 horses. We got a lot from Decepticons Forever. Zay Jeff says, "You rock, Sean. Any suggestions for someone heading to OPC Elmer who wants to get ahead and ace their classes, most critical parts of the HTA. I'll tell you what, and congratulations for being hired and starting off your career as a police officer. Cadet is awesome. Sleep well, train well. Um, don't burn yourself out. Don't party. Party is the worst thing. I mean, it's the best thing. It's nice to socialize, but try and go to bed early. Try not to be up all night. Definitely don't go to the bars. And if you're staying on the weekends, like that, people get into trouble. If you stay there on the weekends and you don't come home, you will have time to read ahead. The biggest thing I can tell you, the most important thing I can tell you, is pay attention and be active in class. Sit at the front, engage in conversation when they ask questions or when they give you scenarios. Contribute to the conversation. Don't be the what if guy, but pay attention in class. That you learn so much there. I didn't spend very much time studying, and I was in the top 25% of my Toronto class, for top score, and I just I inhaled the information. I understood it because I was actively involved. If you're busy reading while the instructor's talking, you're not getting the insight and experience that they're offering you. And some of the courses are boring. Some really are, but you need them all. So feel free to DM me throughout your process at OPC. I'd love to chat with you and see how things are going through for you. Stay in touch. But again, congratulations, and I think you're going to love it. Especially if you like eggs, because there's a lot of eggs at Elmer. I mean that because it's a cafeteria and eggs are your friend. Yeah, don't lean too much into the food. I wonder if they still have that pizza shop. There used to be a pizza shop, like one place that delivered. That was my, you know, they were the Sammy's, or it's like a Scottish pizza place. I can't remember what it's called. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, Julio Caesar Castillo T. It's cut off. I learned a lot from you. Heh heh. Well, I don't know if there's some cut off there. Maybe there was more, but I'm glad you did. I love hearing positive uh, feedback. We got Kyle. We talked about that. Tom McGarry wants to know, why is it a federal law for a trucker to have to check their air brakes during a pre-trip inspection? Tom, I don't know why it is. I'm going to assume it is to ensure that it is working. Pre-trip inspections. I'm not air brake qualified, so I couldn't go into the ifs, ands, or whys, but I know you have to do what's on your pre-trip, but it would make sense to ensure that that is working, that doesn't seize or lock. It's just going to be a guess, and I think it's a logical guess, and anyone who is, a commercial driver might be able to shed some light with some more detail than my feeble attempt at logic. Brandon says the NYPD is an awesome department. That is my friend Brandon, who is currently in Florida, but he hails from Canada. And he says, New York is an awesome city that if I were to get, oh, that's where he got his start as a chef. Yes, we talked about that when we met up at the car show. There's things I didn't know about my buddy. Okay. Really? So apparently in Brantford, the Brantford police and OPP laid 26 charges today for people going the wrong way on a ramp. It's funny you say that, because I just had a conversation with the Globe and Mail yesterday, and we talked about, what happens if you go down the wrong way on a street, and how much is reasonable. And one of the examples I gave of not acceptable is going the wrong way and driving the wrong way up an on-ramp when there's a collision and people want to just get out of the way. If you're being directed by a police officer is one thing, but just taking it upon yourself to go the wrong way, super dangerous. Super dangerous. Yeah, voice cracked on that. Okay. Let me come back here. Somebody wants to know about corruption. Stand by. Not a firefighter. Thank you for all the sharing. No. Eric says it's going to get cold in the GTA. Come on. I was ready for t-shirt weather. Not a firefighter says, cheese it. It's the cops. I don't know what cheese it means. What is that? Maybe that's new slang. Like, mind you, cheese it reminds me of a product that I grew up with. Not that I bought it, but it was a thing where it was like spray cheese. It came like in a mousse can, mousse like hair mousse, and you pressed a button and cheese whiz of sorts came out. If you're old enough to know what that is, you're old like me. I don't think that's available anymore. I really don't think so. Philip says, "Did you retire from the police service?" He said police force, but I auto correct the police service. We are at service. I left the police a year and a half ago. It's been really, really weird not being a cop anymore. But I did. I left for family reasons, and I don't regret it. Although I do miss the job and I miss the people, and it's something I still very, very proud of. Let's see here. Eric says, "No, they're talking about the weather. We're going to skip over it because the weather's nice, but we got to talk about traffic." Any opinions of Alberta starting their own provincial police service? I don't have an opinion on that. I mean, I think that local police really do cater to the community, but it's not always economical, and not every community can afford it. So that's what we have here, right? We have major cities that have their own metropolitan or local police, and the provincial police handle areas that can't afford to have their own police. So I don't have an issue with anybody starting their own provincial police service. If you need it, you need it. And Tatiana, thank you for the rose. We got we got a lot of there a bunch of different things happened in out west. A couple of police services that were created. One was a local police service that was created to take over from the RCMP. And I don't know how they're doing, but I know a number of police officers. It was the Surrey Police. A number of police officers from Toronto and the GTA moved out there because lower cost of living and great opportunity to be a part of a startup. I don't know how that's going though. All right, we got Julio Caesar says, "So a four-way stop, the opposite vehicle, no blinkers. Me turning left with blinkers on. We came to a stop at the same time. Who should go first?" So the person who is planning to go straight through, and then there's a person turning. Well, if you like, nobody ever really gets there at the same time. But for the sake of the argument, we'll say you did. The person turning, generally, you want to yield to the person who's going straight. Generally, and here's the truest statement on right of way. It's something you give, not take. And I learned that from a friend of mine, Scott, who is a safe driver online. And he talks about the fact that you give the right of way. And it's the safest way to go because you can't predict what they're going to do. Now, eventually, if you're waving and they're waving and everybody's waving, you got to be less Canadian and someone's got to drive. And we're also apologetic and willing to let everybody else drive. But eventually, you got to just make a decision. And even then, we find that everyone sort of says, "You go, no, you go, no, you know, you go, no, I says, you go." And then you both go. And then somebody hits the brakes. And then they go, "No, no, you go." Someone's got to go. And it should be a more distinct decision-making process. So there you go. Let me scroll through and see what we got here. You're very welcome, Dushyant. And boom. Okay. We will come back to another question from Dushyant in just a moment. And Khan has a question. Will you get ticketed for not fully stopping to turn right on a red light? On a red light camera, depends on the speed you're traveling. If you're rolling through at 2 kilometers an hour, the camera won't catch you, but you can still be charged because it's against the law to fail to stop for a red light, even if it's for turning right. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. And I was on another radio program yesterday, and they said, we were talking about breaking the law, and they said, "What's the one that bugs you the most?" And that's the one that bugs me the most. People who can't figure out that you have to come to a complete stop on a red light and then ensure that it's safe for you to proceed to go, and only then put your vehicle in motion again. And I watch people like 5, 6, 7 cars in a row, boom, 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 not even touching the brakes on making right turns on reds. But the red light camera, some cameras will catch you. And again, if you're approaching at high speed and you make a turn, you're gonna get caught on a red light camera. If you're at a snail's pace but you didn't actually come to a stop, you're probably not going to get caught on a red light camera because there are trigger requirements in order for those to take your picture. Snapple Tooth wants to know if Canadian cops are as corrupt as American cops. I think that makes an assumption that cops are corrupt. There are corrupt cops. Internationally, we know that there are people who wear uniforms that shouldn't. There is corruption everywhere, but it is a minuscule, minute, tiny, itty-bitty number. 99.99999% of cops are good people who want to help other people. That's why they put on a uniform. And that's it. That's the story. Manraj Verk says, how about your Texas trip? I have not, I do want to come to, I've never really spent time in Texas, but I want to buy a cowboy hat. Honest to goodness, I want to buy a cowboy hat. I want to have a custom made cowboy hat. I need one. So at some point, I'm going to make a trip to Texas, but I don't have any plans at the moment. So I know Manraj, he actually moved out there. So we'll have to hook up when I eventually make my way to Texas, but it may not be for a while. The only time I've been in Texas was the airport on a stopover. Hit or miss says 99% is crazy. Are you saying, like I'm saying 99% are amazing, good people who serve the community? Are you saying that that's too high? You think it's lower? I'm not sure how to interpret your question. Do you think it's like 80% that are good people and the rest are criminals? I think it's a very, very low percentage of people who are doing something that is not good or not legal and still like. But I would say that that's the average, like for accountants and lawyers and dentists and teachers and clergy. Like I think it's 99.9999% are good, and then you hear about the 1 or 2, and those people are the ones that get caught. Obviously, there's probably more who, maybe it's somebody in a dentist's office does a what's it called, cheats on their taxes or something. I'm talking about actual bad stuff. I'm not even talking about them trying to get their kids driving lessons as a write-off or some crap like that. He says, hit or miss says, most people become cops to exert power over other people. My cop is a neighbor. My cop is a neighbor. You mean my neighbor is a cop and he yells at me daily? Why does he yell at you? I think you're inaccurate. I think you've had some bad experiences, and I appreciate that your perspective is yours and yours alone. But I don't think that you're accurate. Your neighbor who's a cop might be a prick, but that doesn't mean that all cops are pricks. It doesn't mean that as you alleged, that most people become cops to exert power over people. No, most people become cops because it's an honorable profession and they get to help people. I don't deny that some people might join because they want to exert power over others, but that's, again, a minute number. And the majority of people who would apply with that kind of intention would flunk out of the program. Like there's a psychological testing, like they have doctors. You have to do there's so much testing. So there are people who squeeze through, but the majority of them don't. He says, my loud exhaust is a truck, and my kids are louder than his. My loud exhaust is a truck. Or you mean your truck has a loud exhaust? So your loud exhaust is illegal, and he yells at you because you're disturbing the community, and maybe he's just telling you that you're breaking the law. I don't know. Like, loud exhausts are not legal, so maybe he's telling you, but yelling at you, there's a way of doing it professionally. Like, he could just give you a ticket, but that would make very uncomfortable neighborly disputes. Goes on to say, I play in a band and keep my open windows till 2 a.m. Well, if you play in a band and you keep your windows open making noise till 2 a.m., you're also breaking noise ordinances. You're painting a picture where you're the one who's wrong, not him. He may not be happy with you, and for good reason. You seem to be breaking the law and making a lot of noise. But I appreciate that you may like the loud noise that you make. Not everybody agrees on these things. But hey, sounds like he might not be very kind, but he's probably, he says, wait, are you AI? No, I'm not AI. I'm a former police officer who answers questions live. But I happen to be looking over because you're in your own window on YouTube. I got to go back to the other windows, which are TikTok and whatnot. We got Photografias who says, I sent you a message. You're probably writing me about what's coming up. It's going to be the torch run. I imagine you're writing me about the torch run. Okay. Let's go back to TikTok because there's a bunch of stuff that's popped up there. He says, are you AI? And then he says, okay, you have a soothing voice. He said, okay. Let's see here. What do we got here? Boo. We talked about that. Eric wants to know, what are my thoughts on police and security, among others, using body-worn cameras, yeah or nay? I love body-worn cameras. They help police. They help security. I think recording what's actually happening is brilliant, because anybody who is engaged with another person, is engaging with another person, needs protection. People make allegations all the time. And when police were first being introduced to this concept of being recorded, change rocks people. There was an assumption that it was going to be used to come after cops and get them into trouble for little things, and people rejected it. They didn't want to be spied on. I love the cameras. You know why? People make all sorts of false allegations against police, and when the video comes out where those allegations were proven, like with evidence, to be complete crap, the complaint goes away, and then we discuss whether or not there's going to be charges laid for false, reports, because people say the darndest things when they don't want to be held responsible or accountable for their choices. Neil, is it Neil? Says, why no cops in highways? People are doing 60 to 70 kilometers an hour. Are you suggesting they're traveling too slowly, or that they're doing 60 to 70 kilometers an hour over and they're speeding? The truth is we have too few police officers, or not enough police officers to handle the needs of the violations. Like, we have so many people on the road breaking the law, but we have so many people, we have home invasions, and we have robberies, and domestic violence, and being like, we have all sorts of stuff happening. And we only have so many police officers, and they're all being pulled from different directions. So it's tough. It is really tough. I'd love to see more cops on the road. I'd love to see more of a focus on traffic safety enforcement, because that's what it is, right? It's not just ticketing you so you start doing the right thing. It's ticketing you so you do the right thing, and hopefully you don't kill anybody, because that's what happens when people speed and drive poorly on the road. Let's see here. We got that. Just scrolling through. Khan wants to know what I think about the Iran war. That's a tough topic, because there's a lot of people who are on different sides. That nobody wants to see people get hurt. Nobody wants to see bad things happen to good people. At the end of the day, I think that it's going to be a conflict that's over soon, and I think that Iran needs to be free. The people of Iran don't want the government they have, and they were brutalized by their government when they tried to stand up to them. So I think that this is unfortunately it's a necessary thing to free the people. So I stand with Iran, the people of Iran, not the government. Okay. Akela Draconis is not AI either. And yes, hit or miss, I am Canadian. Artie the Real wants to know if I think Canada should have castle law. There really is. I think that there is castle law, at least from the perspective that I see it, already in place. The difference is it's not the same as the United States in that not everybody's carrying a pew pew, and you're going to get charged here when you use force, and it's going to be a situation the courts have to deal with to figure out if you were justified in the use of that force. So under Criminal Code of Canada, you can use as much force as necessary, including lethal force, to protect your life or the life of another. Now, if you use that when it wasn't justified, you're going to jail, right? You're going to be held criminally responsible. So you have to be really careful. You have to use as much force as necessary, but not more than what was necessary. Not everybody knows what that is. Honda Miggs, good to see you, my friend. It's been a while. Honda says, hey, Sean, great to see you. What are your thoughts on recent arrests of all those police officers here in Toronto? If they're guilty of what they're accused of, then I'm glad they were arrested. It's sad. It's sad. The allegations, from what I gather, are pretty. I know what you know based on the reading in the media, and I'm embarrassed that kind of stuff happens. It's gross. And there's nobody who hates a bad cop more than a good cop. And good cops hate bad cops. They don't want the uniform that we respect and treat with honor and are honored to wear. We don't want that turned into garbage because people do bad things while wearing it. It's gross. But yeah, if they're guilty, I hope they're held accountable. If they're not guilty, I hope that we figure out why there was a mistake. But we'll see what happens. It's before the courts. What L Engineering says, hey, guess what? It's going to be drone season. You've probably been flying your drone all winter, but I'm a fair weather flyer, and I've not been flying because it's too damn cold to be outside even. So I'm a droner. I have drones. I like drone photography and videography, and I'm looking forward to getting my birds in the air. But What L Engineering, who has a channel on TikTok, you should follow him. He's got awesome stuff. He does a lot of engineering and construction stuff. Takes pictures of stuff and things. Sebastian says, I was talking to Tracy. I'll skip on because I see it's between y'all. Um, boom, boom, boom. Manraj Verk says, because trucks run on air, and if there's an air leak, brakes do not work. This is the whole why do you have to do a circle check and ensure that your air brakes are tested and functioning. Cash by accident says, as a traffic constable, do you guys get quotas? So, first of all, it's not traffic constable. It was a police constable. I happen to be a traffic specialist. And I'm a former constable. I'm no longer a police officer. But no, there was never any quotas. I'm not aware of any police service in the GTA or even Ontario that has quotas, although everyone seems to think so. Now, there could be quotas in other places. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen anywhere, but I've never seen it in Ontario. Now, that's because I've never actually spoken to anybody about quotas outside of Ontario, so I can't speak to that. I've never heard of it. I will say this. We're expected to do our job. If you go and work a 10-hour shift, you come back with double zeros for tickets, and you weren't doing anything else, like you can't hang out at Tim Hortons all day. There's only so much brew you can do. And if you come back and you haven't written a ticket, you've been sleeping. There are so many violations on the road. What possible reason would someone have for not writing a ticket to save lives? Because that's what tickets do, right? They change driver behavior. And the intention is to make roads safer. So never had a quota, but I absolutely wrote as many as I could every single day. That's because I saw it all, and it was all dangerous stuff. Bernhard 22 says, thoughts on Durham's PD auto-deploy drones. The future is here. I have spoken to a drone manufacturer, possibly the one that they're deploying. I think it's brilliant. So what we're talking about is the ability to deploy a drone from central command. It's not, I don't think it's just autonomous. From the radio room or from their pilot center, they would able to remotely launch a drone from the closest police station or port or wherever they have this console on top of a building, hit a button and fly to see what's going on and get a live feed to be able to inform police officers that are en route to a call as to what to expect. The potential is catch information that's vital to officer safety and public safety before a police officer is even nearby. So that could be getting plates with heat signature cameras, being able to identify how many people, being able to record vehicle descriptions, persons descriptions, follow them at a distance. Like the potential is huge. I would love to see that program deployed in every police service in every urban area or rural area for that matter. Like the fact that they could get there in minutes when police officers might be stuck in traffic, even with lights and sirens, I think it is brilliant. I was going to talk to one of the manufacturers of these drones on a podcast, and the email, I must have typed it in incorrectly and I screwed up the email. So he was one of the guys on the project team, and I really wanted to do an interview. I do have a business card from them. Mind you, there's an opportunity. I think they're all coming back to the Blue Line Expo coming up soon. I've registered to go to the Blue Line Expo, so I expect to be there, and I would love to chat with them about stuff and things. Hit or miss 986 says, I have to disagree. I've been around cops many times here in America, including a couple of friends. Most of them are doing it for power. I disagree with you. You're entitled to disagree with me. I have family that are federal police. I have family in the States. I have family that are local police in the States. None of these people joined for that reason. They're all true heroes in their community who would put their lives on the line to save another. So to say that they're just there for power trips, maybe in small town America, and I'm making a generalization. I don't know where you are, but real police, no, they're there to help people. Maybe if it's like some tiny town somewhere, maybe it's the high school bully who becomes I don't know. That's the movie styling. But when you have a competitive police force that is a professional police service, that's not happening. Not. And I'm just going to my catalog of how people get hired in the movies. Liz, how you doing? We'll come back to you in a second. I gotta get through these TikTok ones because people have been waiting. Trevton Brown says Grand Prairie, but I don't know the context of your statement, so I don't know what the story. Excuse me. Tatiana says, can I drive barefoot? It's not a good idea, but it's not illegal in Ontario. There may be jurisdictions where it is illegal. I would check with your local authorities if you're not in Ontario, but there's nothing illegal about driving without shoes in Ontario. It's not a good idea, though. think about this. Picture this. Let me tell you a story. If you get into a collision and there's broken glass and there's chemicals that are released from the vehicle, and maybe those chemicals are on fire and you have no shoes, you are going to have a problem. It's going to be a problem. Hit or miss says, professional? I'm talking about America, sir. Okay, where in America? Now I really want to know. Khan says, I've heard some talk about banning right turns on red. What do you think about that? So I have two opinions, and they're opposing opinions. I would hate to lose right turns on reds because I think it really is incredibly efficient for getting around, especially with the timing of lights. I would love to make a right turn on a red if there's nobody around, but I appreciate that banning right turns on reds would make it safer because we have a lot of traffic injuries and fatalities as a result of right turns on reds and collisions for that matter. So I have mixed emotions. Let's see here. Paul Davide or Paul David or Divide? I don't know. Moving on. Why are construction machines like bobcats and front loaders allowed to drive on city streets? They're really not. They're if they're related to a particular road work project, they may have the ability like that as a road building machine specific to a project, but they can't just drive around. People are abusing the law and considering them implements of husbandry, us not performing farming. They're really stretching what's and relying on people not reporting them, but they're not allowed to just drive around. There's very few vehicles that can drive around. Those vehicles are not insured for the road, and in many cases damage the road. They're just not allowed to be there. So it depends where you are and what you're doing, and if you're in close proximity. Like if you're just driving off the end of the driveway and driving onto a trailer to pick up dirt is different than if you're driving between multiple houses and plowing driveways, or you can't drive around the city streets. We have an unknown user who says, how is OPC like things that you do while at OPC? How is OPC like things that you do while at OPC? Like what kind of, what was included in the studies? I mean, there's all sorts of things. There's the academic side where you're learning law, and then there's the practical side where you're doing defensive tactics, firearms, and then there's a lot of stuff that's a combination of things where you're applying law, either in a CQB where you're testing your scenario testing, where you're learning how to talk people down and deal with de-escalation technique. Like there's so much. OPC is you got to figure while you're, and OPC is the Ontario Police College in Elmer, Ontario. They're trying to cram so much knowledge into you so that you can go back to your police service, and they're training all police officers in the province of Ontario, and you come back and you have like this base tiny itty bitty bit of knowledge, and then you get another 10 plus weeks. Well, 10 plus weeks with a coach officer, but you still have at least 4 weeks at the police college where you get your local training. There's just so much, and you never stop learning. So OPC is like this all you can eat buffet. It's like drinking from the fire hose. There's so much overload of information, but it's also amazing. Take the ride. If you just gobble it all up. It's amazing. There's so much to learn. I'm a big police geek, so I love it all. I would do OPC again. Like I had so much fun, except for being away from my family. That was hard. I had just gotten married and I went to OPC, and that was hard. Shooter says cops are the biggest gang in town, but they're the good gang, and they fight the bad gang. So if you have to have a gang, if gang is the title you have to give them, even though I think it's a professional organization of people who protect others, I'll take it. Fuego says, I got careless driving ticket for rear-ending a car. Yes, careless driving tends to be the catch-all charge for a collision involving rear-ending somebody, because you would not have rear-ended them had you not been careless. I don't agree with laying that charge. And a number of years ago, the justices of the peace, or the head justice for Toronto, said, we want you to charge appropriately as opposed to just using that blanket charge. And then I started really charging appropriately because I thought that was appropriate. And then the prosecutor said, hey, what are you doing? You're giving a charge and I have nowhere to plead it out. So one school of thought is charge careless, go to court, and we're going to reduce it in court to something a little less serious. I don't think that's right. I think you charge for the appropriate thing. If you were following too close and I can establish the grounds to charge you for following too close, that's the charge I should lay. But then the crowns didn't like, or the prosecutors didn't like me for that. Well, too bad. I charged for what was appropriate. Now, I think careless is a very serious charge and should be used sparingly, but not everybody agrees. It's easier to give a blanket charge, and that's where you see it so often. And sometimes it is appropriate, like careless driving. If you're speeding and you're making a wild turn, and like there was other contributing factors, and you had multiple effects together, and could it qualify for careless? Absolutely. And now we have careless cause death or cause bodily harm. It could be very appropriate in some situations where you've caused bodily harm. But it's I don't think it should be for every charge. Oh, we got a dad joke. How do I flag this now? Oh, this is TikTok. I can't flag it. Great dad joke from Bernhard. Can I? Apparently, I can't. I want to see if I can copy it. Can I copy it? No, I can't copy it. I'll just read it to you right now, and I'll get my. It's actually a good one. We'll do the rim shot. The dad joke is: I only get sick on weekdays. I must have a weekend immune system. It's good. Normally I hold that to the end, but I can't flag it. Brent says, I got an automotive question for you. We have Melody, who is a mechanic, and says she's here for you. And Brent read Brent's question, which I imagine is already responded to by Melody. But he says, I have a 97 Ford F-150 rear driver's daytime running lights, DRLs. I had to decode that. Aren't working. Am I still legal to drive during the day? Melody says there's no such thing as rear daytime running lights. They're front only. Well, there you go. Yeah, daytime running lights are high beam bulbs that are running at low power, generally speaking, in the front of the vehicle, or depending on the vehicle, it could be different. And Akela, I see you. I got you. He says, I sent you jokes. Don't forget. I got him. So there you go. You don't need rear daytime running lights because they don't exist. Nate says, "Hey Sean, Peel Region medic on tonight. No drama going down in TN in town." Yeah, who's using the Q word? We don't use that Q word. But good to have you, Nate. Let's see here. We got. Oh no, Melody said the Q word or typed it. Maybe it doesn't count if you type it. Nate says, there's no way you just did that. You typed the word. Okay. Brent says there are daytime running lights. Brake lights run at low power at night. No. Brake lights operate. No. Full headlight system on. Brake lights run low power. Anyway. At night, but that's not a daytime running light. Daytime is daytime. Okay, are you saying that you have no brake lights, or what is the terminology for those? The lights that are on when your lighting system is on, even if the light brakes aren't applied. If those don't work, those aren't daytime running lights. Those are like nighttime running lights. I don't know what the right name is for those. That would be a problem if your headlight system doesn't work properly or your taillight system doesn't work. You're going to get a ticket. That's a problem. Sorry. Xander with a 2. Is that what I'm reading? Passing a school bus at train tracks. So there's no passing on train tracks if it's single lane on either direction. If it's the school bus, it's 2 lanes in either direction, then they pull and stop. You can continue through. You're not mandated to stop on tracks. So there you go. What do we have here? Have you ever done the polar plunge for the torch run? I've talked about it. I was on light duties at the time. I thought jumping off of something into a pool whilst freezing was a really bad idea, but I would not be against doing it in the future. I can't believe I'm actually saying that because I always question the mental health of people who jump into icy water whilst clothed and smile at the, I don't know, it looks crazy to me, but I would do it. It's a good reason to do it. VNVIC7 says, if I do a catless downpipe, can I get a ticket? You think? Catless is a problem already. No catalytic converter, that's against the law. And then you have the fact that it's a downpipe. Well, you're bypassing and dumping your exhaust before it goes through your muffler system. That would absolutely be illegal. It is a problem. Uh, okay. I'm reading from multiple places here. Hang on a second. Do you have the munchies? No, don't have the munchies. I have the wateries. I need water. I see Decepticons Forever's comments just scrolling through here. Hari has questions about hiring officers and candidates. We'll come back in a second and talk about employment. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Bernhard says, Sean looks great too. Thank you, Bernhard. I appreciate you. It must be all the push-ups that's making my hair look better. I've been working. I've been working on my push-ups. So I started out by as a person who was injured and took a long time to recover to the point where push-ups were possible. I went through those, push-ups on the stairs, push-ups on the knees, modified push-ups to make it possible. And I'm happy to say I do proper push-ups now with proper form, and I'm quite enjoying them. I think that push-ups might be the most underrated but best like exercise ever. I do them with my kids. They're my motivation, and I really like them, even though they often hurt. They often hurt. My arms have gotten huge though, so it's good. Zachary Trisco wants to know how long was I a cop for? So I was a member of the service for 24 years. I was a police officer from. I graduated in 2013, so you can do the math on that. What's your favorite police livery in Ontario? Mine is personally Chatham Kents. I can't visualize Chatham Kents. I am a fan of the Toronto, because it's my car. The Toronto livery, and livery is a term for the sticker package or the paint package, and I like the Toronto one. I just do. I I'm not a I really don't like berries. I don't like the European yellow and blue boxes. And they're not driving a Volvo, so it doesn't make sense. If you have a Volvo, I think it works. Rear marker lights. Okay. Whatever you want to call them. Thank you, Brent, for clarifying. Rear marker lights. I like that. Jason Edwards says, traffic duty was brutal. So glad I went to Marine Patrol. Speeding is easier on the water. You know what? I've been on the boats on the water. I totally appreciate the work that the Marine unit does. I'm not a diver, and I don't want to go swimming about in the Toronto Harbor. But fill your boots. I love traffic. I'm a traffic geek. As you may have noticed, as I have this thing where I answer traffic and traffic law questions. I like traffic stuff. I just do. And I was a motor officer, so I love motorcycles, even though I don't ride one anymore. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Richie Stacks says, question to Richie Stacks, possible answer. What do you got here? Sean, what is the regulations regarding an aftermarket exhaust? Are you allowed to change it? Depends on your jurisdiction. In Alberta, they say that nothing other than factory is permissible. I don't understand why, because you can have non-factory aftermarket but compliant. But the way they've worded it in videos and talking to friends, it sounds like they're pretty strict. In Ontario, as long as you meet the legal requirements, you're okay. You can have a freer flowing system, but you can't make such changes that would violate the regulations. So you can have aftermarket, you just can't have a straight pipe. You could have freer flowing cats, but you can't have no cats. And you can't have racing cats, because those would be not meeting the requirements. Mind you, I have no idea what a racing cat is. I'm just assuming there's a racing cat when people make modifications. And I know that depending on where, if you're IMSA, you have catalytic converters, because those race cars must be as manufactured, right? They can tune them, but they can't chop stuff off. Amelia wants to know if seatbelt extenders are legal, asking from NF Ontario, not from Ontario, Northern, I don't know what NF is, but the Ontario is there. So I'm assuming, okay. So if so, can I use two to fit the person? So you have a larger person that you want to safely fit. So a seatbelt extender can be used. Manufacturers often make them available for free. I used to have to use an extender in some of the police cars to be able to get over my gun. So that was the thing. I ended up giving up on it, but I was trying to find a way to easily access the button, because in one model vehicle, my holster would go right over the seatbelt button. I could never. It was a problem. So I was messing around with things. Our police garage had them. They're absolutely legal. They should be proper seatbelt extenders as opposed to cheap aftermarket stuff. But I've experimented with various kinds. Could you combine two? I don't see why that one would be different than two. Maybe Melody knows better than I, but I don't think that would necessarily be a problem. But I mean, if you have no other way of securing the person, it's better to have two than none. Now, it may be that they're large enough that you could get an exemption from a doctor. You can get a letter saying they don't have to wear a seatbelt. I don't think that's a good idea. But if it was something that a doctor wrote a letter saying that this person is exempt, they would be exempt. I just don't think that's the safest option. Thank you. Yes, Tracy was just letting Zachary know that I'm behind, but I spent over 20 years. Okay. Eric, Eric Polly? Palace. Eric Palace? Maybe. I'm trying to get the name. Any recommendations to someone applying to become a member of a police service? Don't give up. It's a long process. Stay committed, stay in shape, stay out of trouble. That's a pretty important one. Follow the driving laws because those are really more important than you might think. Find out everything you can find out about the police service you want to apply for, the community that you want to serve in. It's not just about applying for a job, it's about being an active member in that community. And volunteer. Start serving the community that you want to serve as a police officer before you even put a uniform on. Start helping out with different things that need helping. And that could be working in youth groups or retirement homes or anything that needs help. There's a lot of people who need help. One of my favorite things about being a police officer was being able to help people and not having to send them a bill at the end of that help. Being able to just go and do stuff. I think that was tremendously valuable. And I missed that ability to just sort of walk in and say, I want to help you today. It was a cool thing. Really cool. Opinion on flock cameras. Forgot to put the cue. So flock cameras, this is a network of cameras that share information, read plates and things like that. It's a system that's being employed in some areas in the United States. I don't believe we have them in Canada. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think if it's being used for good, it's good. If it's being used for bad, it's bad. If it's being abused, it's bad. But I think the idea is good. I don't know enough about them to give anything more than what I just said. In that, I think it would be great to catch bad guys using them because bad guys don't deserve any breaks. Hit or Miss also says that he's from Lower Michigan. Right on. I have family in Michigan, and they're cops, and they're good cops. But they say that he says I got some bad eggs down here. There may be, and I certainly don't speak for all when I say good things. I can't speak for all, but if you have bad ones, I'm sure they exist. Okay, we got Owen Lindsay. We talked about Owen's question about stickers. Just catching up here. Boom, boom, boom. What do you think about many truckers being let on the road without proper authorization? Well, if they don't have proper authorization or permits, they don't have the legal authority to do what they're doing. If the employers are doing it, they're breaking the rules, and they shouldn't be doing it. Like I believe in strict enforcement of all rules, and I'm not a fan of people who aren't qualified to driving. Tracy says, I swear the cop who pulled me over for a clear plate cover had a quota. And she says, yes, I'm still bitter. This is like a long time ago we were talking about that, but I hear you. Jason says, in New York, we do not have quotas, but there are targeted enforcement, seatbelts, cell phones, and speed. So whereabouts in New York? Because I had the pleasure of joining a number of teams on different vessels in New York Harbor. In the New York City's harbor, and if I was on your ship, boat, police thing that floats, I appreciate you. Thank you for your service out there. We targeted enforcement is absolutely a thing, and that's when generally in conjunction with an education campaign where we're telling the media and we're telling everybody like we're gonna do this. So don't do this thing because we're coming out there looking for it. And then people still do it. I don't know if it's because they don't watch the news anymore or what the story is. But yeah, but again, yeah, we have the total same thing. We'll do bicycle campaigns. And it's funny, when I started bicycle campaigns was actually going after bicycle riders who were breaking the law. And somehow it morphed into focusing on cars who were putting cyclists at risk. And I'm like, No, no, I'm an equal opportunity enforcer, so I would write everybody for everything. If you put a cyclist at risk, boom, you got a ticket. If you put if a cyclist put themselves or others at risk, boom, they got tickets. I'm fair. John says, why does it take so long for police to find a swatter who makes a fake report? Well, some swatters actually take the time to conceal their identity sufficiently that it takes like, serious resources to locate them. It's not as simple as, hey, like this burner phone, we know exactly where. No, they actually route calls. Like, now I won't say it's like the movies, but they're it's getting harder and harder. Now, I also have nothing to do with that. I never did. It's just based on conversations I've had with people who are related to that. Very often, it requires information from the service providers, and sometimes it requires more than that. If it's a cell phone, they can ping towers, they can pull stuff, but you got to be real dumb dumb to swat somebody from your own phone. Jack wants to know in Ontario, how long do tickets last on your driving record? So a conviction lasts for 3 years. Well, let me dive deeper into that. Insurance companies can see your active record, the stuff that's active on your file for 3 years. Police can see since before you were even a licensed driver. So if you borrowed mom's car at 15 and got charged, you didn't have a license at 15 in Ontario, but we'd see every ticket you ever had, every conviction, including things that happened prior to you being licensed. They'd never go away. But the insurance company can only see the active 3 years. And as soon as that 3 year term is up, it's gone. Demerit points only stay for 2 years. And demerit points stay from the date of the offense, whereas convictions stay from the date of the conviction. Okay. The person whose name is ME, they say, do you feel like the Gestapo when you served? Did you serve the people or the crown? It's an interesting question. I absolutely served the people. And when I held them accountable for their breaking the law, it was them who caused me to intervene with their lives and charge them. Yeah, I don't know. You would make a Gestapo statement. It's pretty silly. There's nobody out there that I'm aware of that does that, because police are the people and the people are the police. And your statement is silly. Should have ignored it, but I didn't. Anyway, SB Visuals says it was regarding police forces out west. Switching from RCMP Grand Prairie was one in Alberta. I think that was, I don't know, out of context, maybe talking about getting provincial or getting a local police. Jack said Google said 3 years, but you can never trust it. But Google was right. Nate said 3 years too. Veronica Bia says, do you like sushi? Love sushi. I happen to like food. It's this thing I rely on for life, but I also enjoy it. Sushi is one of my favorites. Mirage says, I'm from America and cops are really nice over here. Everyone's got their own personal story, and where Hit or Miss has had some negative experiences and friends with providing. You know what? The friends might be the tainting recipe, what may have caused you to think poorly of police, because your friends will tell you the dark humor version of the stories and big up and use bravado and sound like they're being big tough guys, but they're probably not. But they might be giving you that perspective and twisting reality for you. Just a thought. Melody says the cop that showed up at 1 a.m. when I called was a very nice guy. Awesome. Lyle says, what's the difference between a DUI and a DWI? Probably jurisdiction. DUI stands for driving under the influence, and DWI is driving while intoxicated. Two acronyms, and we're big on acronyms in policing. And I think it's just where you are and what your statutes and laws read. DUI is what we talk about it here. DWI might be somewhere in the United States. Okay, running lights. Not sure what DJ Big DO1 wants to know, but running lights is not a question; it's a statement. Thank you for the follow. Whoever just followed, it popped away. Peter Carr says, "How's retirement?" It's not really retirement because I'm so damn busy. I'm running around like crazy. I'm working with the fine folks at ClearGuard. They're a home fortification company. We're doing stuff with well, home fortification. They've designed a custom lock system to brace doors, doing window treatments. Now, I'm not selling it so much as endorsing it. I really believe in the product. I want people to be safe in their homes. So I'm busy with those guys. We're at the home show this week. I didn't go in today because I've got so much other stuff with some other ventures that I'm involved in. But it's not retirement. I'm busy like crazy. But thanks for asking. We got lots of conversation about taillights. Going to scroll past that, thankfully. Uh, all lights need to work as intended. Good answer. What is this? Any notable traffic trials you lost, and what was your takeaway afterwards? Always say motor vehicle. That was my biggest takeaway. I lost a case where I had like dead to rights. I had a guy, he had no license, he had a headlight out, he took the vehicle without consent. It was a mechanic shop, and the kid took the mechanic the customer's vehicle out to cruise the club district, and I got him for like every charge. And when I went to court, I said it was a Mercedes ML430, no headlight, driver was there, driving was wearing this, and I everything under the sun. And I finished my testimony. I'm like, I rock. And then the agent said, I move to dismiss the case based on the fact that the officer never established that the ML430 was a motor vehicle. I'm like, what? I never said motor vehicle in my evidence in chief. I didn't say that the vehicle that was an ML430 Mercedes that had 4 tires and a steering wheel and headlights and windshield wipers and all that crap. I never said motor vehicle. I needed to do that. I never made that mistake again. Screwing up is part of learning. And I learned a lesson that day, and it still haunts me. I remember that feeling of, oh my God, I never made that mistake again. I'm okay with it. I got over it in terms of I screwed up. I'm like, never going to catch me twice. And I went up to him afterwards and said, you got me. You're never going to get me again. Not on that one anyway. Maverick, thanks for sharing. I appreciate you. Amelia says Niagara Falls. Oh, okay. NF Ontario. Got it now. Cool. Boom, boom, boom. What was your favorite call you ever gone to? I've so many. And Tomas says auxiliary is a great intro as well. 100%. Auxiliary is amazing. I don't know. I'd love to reminisce. I'm 20 minutes over. I was going to do an hour, and I'm already an hour and 20. But I got to think about what my favorite call is. I've had so many great, fantastic, brilliant experiences. Some of my favorite were doing dignitary escorts. I think just really cool things to work with other agencies and help others. But the too many to list. There's so many good things. Like even just going to a school and putting a motorcycle out and letting kids climb on it during their lunch break because they're doing a safety presentation. Like it doesn't have to be a call that's lights and sirens and scary to be amazing. Jay Herman says, if an EV has veterans plates, can it be used the HOV lane? No, an EV needs to have green plates technically to use that lane. Now, if an officer lays a charge to a Tesla driver and that Tesla driver has veteran plates, I'd be shocked. But the letter of the law, the green plate that gives you the authority, not the electric drivetrain. You qualify for the green plate based on your drivetrain. And there's going to become a time when the EV doesn't qualify anymore because there's going to be other criteria. Like you're going to have a new EV, that floats to get a green plate. Like it's going to change because eventually everyone's going to have what qualifies to have a EV. What do we have here? Boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to come back to Hari in a second. Lots of talk about tints. What are this is Antifa. Antifa. I like the name and it's creative. I'm not a fan of the movement. But what are the ramifications for knowingly driving without auto insurance? Knowing or not knowing, you would be eligible for tickets or fines of $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail on conviction. So, whether you know it or you don't know it, the person responsible for the vehicle and/or the registered owner could be charged for driving or permitting someone to drive without insurance on the road. $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail. Notification wants to know if I'm still in Florida. No, I was just there over New Year's to visit family, and I'm going back for another family event soon, but I'm not there right now. I am back in Ontario. What's the law against tinted taillights? They have to be discernible at 150 meters, which means you have to clearly just be able to distinguish whether the lights are engaged or disengaged, and you're just seeing the running light at night. So there you go. Crayon Stealer, amazing username. Don't come at Sean. Canada will come after you, and we will not be nice about it. And don't steal crayons. Okay, crayon stealer, you're awesome. How bad is someone going 220 on the 407? I'd probably arrest you for criminal dangerous driving. 220 is a handcuff charge for me. Akila says, we're calling it a night. Let me see here. I want to try and scroll through. We're almost at the end of the list. I got 70 people in the room on TikTok alone. Thank you for those who are tuning in. Let's see here. We got questions and answers. That's what we're doing here. My name is Sean. I'm a former cop who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And my goal is to make it safer and help you, know stuff so you don't get charged for doing stuff you should have known better. Because the law says you ought to know. Whether you do know is up to you and your motivation to find out. But regardless if you know, you're going to be charged as though you did know because it's your responsibility. Let's see here. KK says, "Hey, I'm looking for an interview policing, and I would love some interview tips." You're looking for an interview, or you have an upcoming interview? Interview tips. The big one here is know your stuff. In your mind, you prepare for your interviews well in advance. You know what kind of interviews, or you should know what kind of interviews policing do. Most of that are behavioral event style interviews where you talk about times in your life where you saw something and you need to explain it. So you have to be able to articulate yourself. It's a really good opportunity to showcase your talents and your experiences. But be honest. Honesty is the best policy. I mean, we say it all the time, but that's the deal. If you're lying, you're going to get caught lying. You're going to hesitate. You're going to think. If you're honest, it's coming out of your mouth without hesitation, and you're just being authentic. And authenticity is what's most important here. Is underflow illegal? I think you mean underglow. And underglow can be illegal depending on how it's mounted and what's happening with it. But there's no specific law for underglow. It's whether or not you're projecting light forward, back, or to the sides of various colors and what it's doing. If it's blinking to the music and it's doing the rainbow, it could be a problem. If the bulbs are visible, it definitely could be a problem. Here's one for KK. Don't spam the chat. It definitely doesn't help you in interviews. Patron says, my friend being pulled over 5 times now for speeding, says her son's on the force, gets let go all the time. That's going to run out eventually. Whether her son is on the force or not, eventually that's just going to stop working. So I've been called at the roadside because somebody who's related to me got pulled over. And I got called and said, listen, tell them to smarten up. And they're getting a break today, but they're not getting a break again. Like I'm like, hey, listen, ticket them. I have no problem with that. Like if my family member, the family member of a traffic cop, someone who is passionate about traffic safety, is breaking the law the way that they were breaking the law that day, they deserve the ticket. Don't do me any favors. Give them the ticket. That's my take on it. I don't think you should get a free pass because you know me, you're blood with me, whatever. Don't break the law. Don't put lives at risk. Don't be a bonehead. I would tell you that to your face, relative or not. Have people benefited because they've dropped my name? I had a guy. I got a guy. The copper was laughing as he told me this. We just arrested a guy for impaired. He says, you can't arrest me. I follow Sean Shapiro. He still got arrested. Oh my God. Kashif says, if police don't show up on accident site, will this be considered a fraud or scam or staged for insurance? So there's a collision. Police don't show up. Will it be fraudulent? Not necessarily. What happens is there are criteria, and each police service may have a slight different take on it. Toronto Police, will not attend unless someone's transferred or transported by ambulance to hospital, or if there's criminality like alcohol, drugs, or lack of insurance, lack of ID, lack of licensing, that sort of stuff. If there's a reason for police to investigate, they will. If it's minor and there's nobody hurt and the damage is under a certain, well, actually no, that's not a factor. If no one's transported, there's no criminality, it's probably going to a collision reporting center. If they're drivable and damage is under $5,000, it's not even a reportable collision. But when you talk about who's going to be responsible, there may not be charges laid. And then the when you go to the collision reporting center and you do your diagram and they do their diagram, they'll determine fault, but no one's going to get charged. Not usually. But fraud, that's a wholly different thing. If there's somebody saying this is fraudulent, if it's a fishy thing, police might drop by. We'll see. And there's also time of day that creates if it's nighttime where it's likely that alcohol or drugs may have been involved, they're likely going to send a police officer. Okay. How do I drive a used car I buy home? Trailer it or transfer its ownership and have insurance on it. The thing is, you have to have insurance and you have to have plates to put on it. So either tow it there if it's not ready for the road, or if you have unattached plates. That's not plates you just unscrewed from your Honda Civic and took it and screwed onto. It's plates that are not affiliated with another vehicle. You own them or you have access to these plates. They're in your name. They're valid, but you've already sold your car and you've just got them in your hand. You can use those plates for up to 6 days as long as you have insurance on the vehicle. It means calling the insurance company and them confirming that they have the coverage on that vehicle. Because if it's deemed that you do not, you're going to get charged. How fast do you have to get a new address on your driver's license in Ontario? You have 6 days by law to notify the province of your change of address, and you can do that online, and they'll print you a receipt. You get a piece of paper you can print. Good to have, but the system will be updated instantly. So 6 days, within 6 days. What do we got here? Tammy says you're allowed to have tinted windows. If so, what's the percentage you can have for the windows? Windows left and right of the driver can be no more than 30% blockage. That's including the window itself. So you may only be able to add 20% light blockage. At the end of the day, 70% of visible light must transmit through the glass. You have to have 70% light for certification. Now, when you talk about a police officer looking inside and being able to see you, if they can't see you or they determine that you can't see out properly, you could have less than 30% light blockage, and they could determine based on the condition of the outside, like it's dark out and it's too dark, and they charge you a $110 ticket. Depends on what's going on where you are. Some jurisdictions say no tint. Like I think Alberta, you can't have any tint. But that's my understanding. It may not be accurate, and I would check with your local authorities. KB's math hacks. Interested to know what kind of math hacks you got. Why are police empowered to lie to the public they allegedly serve? What kind of lying are you suggesting? Like when a cop says, I'm not a cop, and they're undercover and they buy drugs from somebody? Because you don't have to tell the truth in that scenario. Are people lying to the public in general? No, I don't think that's a normal thing to do. Not include information, withholding information. Some things are privacy, and you can't. You can't share information. We have things that are high security clearance, or things that we can't share because of Privacy Act. It's different. It's not lying so much as it's not sharing. We don't come and tell you, that we have a suspect down the street. His name is Bob, and he. No, we don't share things. That's not lying. One could say it's lying through omission, but it's just not. So what's the scenario? Like where do you think the lying is occurring? So I might understand your question better. Long distance cruiser. What differentiates whether an officer lays a stunt driving charge or a dangerous operation charge? I would charge both. Criminal dangerous is something that if we think it meets the bar, or if there's it's one thing if you were speeding and you went 40 over in a 40, or 40 over in a 30, and it was no criminal intent. Yeah, you qualify for the stunt, but unlikely you're getting a criminal. 300 kilometers an hour. You knew that it was going to put people's lives in jeopardy. You did it anyway. I would charge you for the speeding. I'd charge you for the stunt, and I'd charge you criminally under the Criminal Code of Canada, and I'd let you figure it out in court. Ooh, my car was totaled. E350 Mercedes Benz claim is over $100,000. Oof. Yeah, send me details. But that should have been well, yes, it qualified for a legit well, $100,000 damage, and no one went to by ambulance to hospital. And they're interesting. Ba, ba, ba. You're welcome, Tammy. MV Rider says, I got pulled over for a loud exhaust for a vehicle that is fully stock. It may be your driving. So, unnecessary noise for loud exhaust, because it's not a loud exhaust, it's improper exhaust, or no exhaust, or muffler is the charge, not exhaust, or unnecessary noise is more likely what you were charged with. That could be because you were revving. You could have a stock car that doesn't make any noise because you keep the RPMs low, or motorcycle in your case. I'm assuming it's motorcycle. Um, yeah, it's driver behavior that more often than not leads to charges. KB's, yes, on traffic stops, there are lies all the time. Watch YouTube vids for context. Thanks. Your YouTube videos? And they said they got to go. I don't know. I have to look at your videos to understand the context of the allegations you're making. Just because someone pulls you, if I pulled you over and I pulled you over because you were speeding, and I like, where's the lie? Like, if I made up the speeding, I ain't got time for that. Nobody got time for that. Hari had asked about what qualities do hiring officers look for in candidates applying for a police officer position? People committed to the community they want to serve, honesty, integrity, interest in constantly improving themselves, developing their skills and abilities, learning languages, being a contributing member of society, which is through volunteerism and your commitment to your community, being of good character, like what people think of you. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but do your neighbors know you? Do you know your neighbors? Do you have issues with credit? Do you have issues with alcohol or drugs? Do you have domestic issues? Like, do you have a bad driving record? Like, it is looking at a holistic you, everything about you. They're looking at you. So it's not just enough. You can have a crappy grade. I didn't have great grades. I wasn't the most studious student when I was in school. The subjects I loved, I excelled at. Business. I got a business certificate. I did all the business courses. Did really well. In turns, Oliver, absolutely. I keep getting delayed, and I apologize. Oliver is asking me to continue reading the MTO book. I absolutely will. Yeah, it's really, it's one of those things where they're looking at you, and they're looking at you to determine traits and risk traits, like who you hang out with, what are your goals, like what do you do with your free time, like how do you articulate yourself, like you're the whole package, right? But honesty is the number one thing, I think. Uh, User with a dollar sign and a happy sign, happy face says, "Can you see my messages?" Yes. Let's see here. Bojack says unnecessary noise tickets should be abolished. Why? Why should you be able to make unnecessary noise? It's not necessary. You're actually contributing horribly to the community and punishing everybody who lives around you. I can't stand noisy vehicles, and nor can communities where you're negatively impacting their quality of life just because you want to drive through with an obnoxious vehicle. Cars are not meant to be loud. You want to be loud, take it to the track where there's no requirements for you to be less than loud. Where is the best place to hide illicit substances in a car? Asking for a friend. Lovely question. Yeah, don't have illicit substances in a car. You won't have to worry about it. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. No, Bojack. I never thought about that. I used to live in an apartment building that you needed to get buzzed in from the lobby. Cops come up to my apartment and knocked on my door to talk to me. Were they allowed to come up? Yes. They went to your security and said, "We're here on a call. Let us in." And they let you in. Why? Because you have a call. There's a reason to be there for the property. They're entering through the common space. You don't have to buzz them in. Somebody had to buzz them in. But ultimately, Yeah, I mean, we used to call people, and very often we have keys or passcodes for emergency purposes to enter buildings because we talk to the management of the building and we get that in advance, so that when there's a fire, when there's an emergency, we don't have to wait around and buzz up saying, "Hey, can we come help the people?" While one person beats the crap out of the other person. No, it's logical that we can get in there for a lawful purpose. The one and only Nicole is a funny, strange person. James Lipton, what up? Oh, interesting. The one and only Nicole is a weirdo. Isn't that interesting? Actor studio show rules. I don't get it. Okay. Talked about that. We talked about that already. And we're about to wrap up. I'm just going to go. Crayon Stealer had some stuff to talk about. I was great at recess, lunchroom, and home time. I sometimes excelled in art, but that was kind of a lot of effort. Benjamin says, "Hi, if I sell my car privately, do I keep the plates or do I give them to the new owner?" In Ontario, you absolutely are responsible and you keep those plates. You do not give them to the new owner. They are yours, and you may be called upon to return them if you're not going to use them, or you put them on your next vehicle, or put them in your closet and just keep track of where they are, because they don't belong to you. They're ministry, and they certainly don't belong to the person that you've transferred the vehicle or you're selling to. One of the issues when people give the plates over when they sell the car is that person decides, well, I have plates, and they never put them in their name, and you will get 407 and parking tickets to your home forever. Don't do that. Keep the plates. Jordan says, I've gotten slack for having tint on my Elantra but why do cruisers be blacked out? Jordan, I don't know where you are, but cruisers in Ontario are not blacked out. In fact, we don't tint our fleet. There's no reason to. The only vehicles in our fleet that have tint are canine vehicles. Why? Because it's to reduce the solar load and keep the dogs cool, but the driver compartment is not tinted, and certainly not tinted illegally, if there were to be tint. Yeah. That's a thing. I sent that message, but you can't see the one after. No, it's possible that the TikTok gods have censored what you've sent. Crayon Stealer says, I have an obnoxious child. Can she be banned as well? I'd say asking for a friend, but clearly it's me. I don't know what to tell you. Banned from where? Like everywhere? Society? Melody, thank you. Yes, inappropriate comments do get filtered. Terrible at napping, could never get that right. Napping is hard. It's not letting me say anything. I just said paramedic. Weird. Yeah, I don't know. You can DM me. I'll try and respond to you there. Benjamin says, perfect. Thanks for your help. All the best. Very welcome. Jordan says, Newfoundland. Jordan, for your Elantra. I don't know what the tint laws are on Newfoundland. But you're saying in Newfoundland they tint and black out their cruisers? Interesting. Was not aware of that. I am going to... The biggest says, my next door neighbor is a constable. Should I be nice to them? I would certainly not break any rules in front of them. That might be a bad idea. Okay. Going to my WhatsApp, where I received a joke from a man who has left the chat, and he's not here to hear us play them. I'm in the wrong bloody thing. That's WhatsApp. He's in Telegram. Is he in Telegram? He's in Telegram. Jim. There we go. All right. Jokes.
Greetings and salutations. It's another dark day in Madoc. It's dark because it's early and the sun hasn't come up yet. I see a bit of a glow on the horizon now. Anyway, there's nothing wrong. So for today's jokes, this is Akela Draconis. Greetings and salutations. First joke. What's the most important part of the Pope-mobile? The catalytic converter. Okay. And for those James Bond fans out there. M called 007 into the office for a meeting. She told him, James, I have a new mission for you. You will be impersonating a red-headed real estate developer. But I have dark hair, said James. Do you expect me to wear a wig? No, Mr. Bond, said M. I expect you to die.
All right. It's too funny. I'm cutting it off there because I want to just acknowledge Durham region. Good to hear from Durham. Where is the Kayla is still there? You heard himself. Good. I thought you said goodbye. Where's the comment that I wanted to respond? Oh, can I be a spectator? Sorry, can a spectator get charged for being at a takeover or street race, assuming no bylaws exist against? Well, I was going to say that there are bylaws like in York Region where you can be charged. Are you party to a criminal event? Potentially. I mean, it really depends on what's going on. Are you blocking the road by being at this takeover? Are you trespassing? Generally speaking, when there's the mad scurry of people trying to avoid being caught, it's generally the drivers that are being chased away. But I'm sure there's something that you could be investigated for if you're really trying. 4 kids in a Porsche. I didn't see you there. Things weren't scrolling up. So good to see you. Hopefully you're still here. And Honda Mig says, didn't New York Region just bring in that camera system? I don't know. Did they bring in Flock? I know they wanted the crime cameras. Asia says, when you coming again in the morning? Where am I going? And Abu says, how are you, Sean? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Ankar says, just curious to ask, do the cops really see if you're cruising around at 130 kilometers and 100 kilometer in a zone? I always see people easily cruise. They can see if they're measuring speed. We have the ability of moving radar, measuring speed at that speed. And yeah, if there's enough cops doing it, or anything like, I would charge somebody for 130 all day long. It is not lawful. Jordan says, a peace officer told me my car was loud because it pops from factory, but my car is fully factory. I don't like the snap crackle pop business. If it was set to be obnoxiously loud, it could still qualify for charges. A minor snap crackle pop is something that has been introduced because people like race cars. It's not necessary. It's completely not necessary. If you modify your vehicle, like if you were to say it's absolutely factory and get that, certified from Beamer that says that that's the way it comes, you could make that argument in court. If you've modified it, if it's got an ECM program, is it called an ECM? If it's got a program that makes it snap, crackle, and pop more and more obnoxiously, they could certainly come after you for it. You're actually just igniting unspent fuel in your exhaust system. It's silly. Jordan says, even though the Hyundai would be tuned that way. Yeah, I mean, you have an argument. If it's exactly the way that, if it's a Hyundai N, like it's a racing car or a race-ish car. It's racing. Let's see here. Ethan wants to know about being pulled over with a legal firearm coming from the range. Do I tell them? You don't, it's not in the States. You have to disclose if you have a firearm on you. There's no obligatory statement saying, hey, I'm coming from the range. If it were to get to the point where you're being searched, or there's a question because they search and can see if you have firearms and they ask you, I would be honest about it, but it's not something you have to openly say, hey, by the way, I got a pew pew, because that might just really freak them out. Not a lot of people with pew pew access in Canada, at least not depending on where you're going. So there you go. Crayon Stealer, incredibly important question. How do they get the caramel in the caramel bar? Is it caramel in the caramel bar, or is it called the caramel? I have to go back and watch old ads. Trent Goulet asking my favorite question. Can you get in trouble for riding an e-bike that goes 80 even if I go the speed limit? Yes. Technically, that e-bike being capable of going more than 32 kilometers an hour makes it a motorcycle, not an e-bike. It is only an e-bike, or getting the benefits of being a bicycle, if it cannot go more than 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface unassisted by muscular power. So if it's capable of going more than 32 on its own by throttle alone, it is illegal, and it's a motorcycle requiring license, ownership, and insurance. Evil Numhard Canadian, trying to decode that. As a mechanic, the cost of valve replacement is more expensive than spitting fire out your exhaust. Too funny. Listen, I have had a blast. I went live for an hour and 47 minutes, which makes me feel better because I did not go live yesterday because I was on location at the National Home Show downtown Toronto with the fan folks at ClearGuard, and I'll be back there on the weekend. I may even be there Friday. But I'm talking about home fortification there because I don't like when people break into your home. I don't like the fact that you're at risk. And breaking windows is oddly easy, and people do it all the time to gain access into people's homes and rob them. I like the idea of making your home much more difficult to break into, and that's what ClearGuard does by coating your windows. This is not an ad. This is me telling you why I think ClearGuard's awesome and why I spend time working with them. They are at the home show. If you want to smack a window with a baseball bat and see how it works, they're actually doing demos, and we'll let you smack the window with a bat or a hammer. It's really cool. I've worked out a lot of frustration on the glass. I can't believe that a big guy like me smashing a window doesn't get through, and these coatings are phenomenal. Anyway, enough about that. Just scrolling down. Crown Steeler says, Sean, you're the best. Hope to meet you one day in person. If you are at major events like the auto show, I tend to go there. But yeah, I try and organize events. But lately, I've been so busy with a software platform that we're launching that I have not been able to get out and about. But DM me. I mean, maybe there's a event in the city that I'll be at, and I try and let people know where I'm going to be. It doesn't always work out. Okay. What is this? Long distance cruisers seem silly to auto charge spectators in York region, even if it's wrong place, wrong. But I understand. Oh, Daniel says requested to join as a guest. Let's see what Daniel's got to say. Letting Daniel, what's going on? Daniel left. I spooked Daniel by actually saying yes to his request to join the live. All right. We almost had a guest. I should have mentioned earlier that I'm happy to have people join. Let's see here. Sean, great show. Love watching you. Your buddy Larry. Oh, hey, Larry, if it's the Larry, I think it is. Good to see you. And yes, Crown Stealer. Damn, Daniel. The biggest says, may I ask why you're no longer a cop? I left for family reasons. I've got stuff going on in the family that required more attention than I was able to provide whilst working full time. So I left the job that I loved to care for the people that I love more than my job. But it was a tough choice. No, not that tough. It's pretty obvious. You picked the family. But I stay connected to my traffic passion by doing stuff like I'm doing now. Started a not-for-profit called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. And I'm still putting the info I've learned and specialty that I have to good use. That said, there's been strange talk. People have said, you should go back. And, maybe one day I will. Who knows? All right. With that, I will bid you all a good night. Drive safe, drive sober, park legally, because Erin Urquhart patrols the city of Toronto, and you never know where she's going to be. I will be back on Tuesday at 10 a.m. for another live. I might have time to do another live impromptu and I'll be at the home show this weekend. So if you're going to be at the National Home Show, I see Crayon Steeler, there's an opportunity. I'll be at the home show on Saturday from open onwards. We'll see. Although I tend not to want to stay too late because I like to tuck my kids into bed. So I'll definitely be there in the AM and for most of the day. You just like going to Toronto. Where are you? Graham Steeler doesn't go to Toronto. Yeah, see, they take the train. I can't tell you how many people have come in to visit at in Toronto. It just worked out. All right. Biggest says good night. Oh, Keswick. I know Keswick. I used to spend a lot of time in Keswick when I was in high school. I spent a lot of time in Keswick. All right. That's it. I say good night. Pressing the music button because that really makes sure I say goodbye. I remind myself that I said goodbye. Hour and 51 minutes. It's not bad. All right. We'll see you Tuesday. And anyone who actually shows up at the home show, we'll see you Saturday. I might be there Friday. DM me if you're going. And if you were going just to see me, make sure I'm going. Kathy says, when reporting a bad truck driver, is it better to give a plate number or the unit number? Both. I would say if you're going to do one, do the other one. If you have a dash cam, provide that information too. All right. Be safe, everybody. Liz, I totally, what did Liz say? I'm sorry, Liz. I completely, as the music ends, hang on a second. Liz said something and I said, I'll come back to you. And then I ignored you. I'm so sorry, Liz. Liz is a longtime listener and participant in the show. Liz had a question. I'm being silly, but when driving the speed limit, especially on highways, I hate when neighboring drivers drive right beside me at the same speed for long periods of time. Can this be dangerous? Sure, it is, because now you have a wall that somebody who wants to go faster than both of you is going to try and do something stupid to pass you. I like to be staggered. I don't want to be beside someone. I might slow down or speed up if they're right beside me. And why are they beside me? That's kind of weird. And then I have no escape path. So yeah, the fact that you're aware of the fact that someone's just riding beside you when they have options to be elsewhere, it's good. You're paying attention, and of course you are. You're with a copper. All right, you got good instincts. That's it. I'm really saying goodbye now. Have a good night.